Hi.
How's it going?
Good. So first of all, can you tell us about Spill Zone for anybody that has not had a chance to read it already?
Right, so Spill Zone is my new graphic novel, and it's about a young woman named Addison Merritt whose hometown and family was destroyed by a strange event that happened about 3 years before the story starts. Basically, she lives in a small town in upstate New York called Poughkeepsie, and Poughkeepsie was completely destroyed by this event called the spill. And nobody really knows what the spill was, whether it was aliens coming down, or a nanotech accident, or Cthulhu spilling from another world. It just basically one night the laws of physics went crazy. Lots of people died. The town itself was upended and is fully a strange phenomenon now. These days the town is completely walled off. National Guardsmen patrol it. No one's allowed in. Technology doesn't work in there as well, so it's hard to send in drones or anything like that.
Right.
So she lives outside the zone with her little sister, who's one of the few people who escaped the event. Addison herself escaped because she wasn't there. She wasn't home that night.
Mm-hmm.
And her little sister is one of this group of little kids who escaped and no one knows how they got out quite, because none of them have spoken since. So like as I said, she lives just outside with her silent little sister, and she sneaks into the zone at night, and using her sort of local knowledge and the fact that the National Guardsmen are old friends of hers, and she takes photographs of what's going on inside the zone. She started out doing this to try to figure out what happened,
right.
But these days she has found this group of collectors who are fascinated by the zone, and so she sort of has become an outlaw artist. She sells these sort of single edition prints of her photographs as a kind of an illegal art, and that's how she supports herself and her sister.
What was your inspiration?
There's a few things. I mean, obviously Chernobyl is a kind of, people sneak into the Chernobyl exclusion zone and they take pictures, and some of the pictures that come out of there are very haunting.
Right.
There's one in particular I saw, which was a picture of a classroom 20 years after the event, and all of the classroom itself, the floor was rotting, the ceiling was rotting, the desks were all sitting there in nice, neat rows, and each desk had a textbook on it, and the textbooks were all turned to the same page. And it was kind of just amazing imagining that 20 years before, these students had all come in. And
exact moment.
everyone go to the page 34. And just the idea that this entire town had been frozen in this one moment, like Pompeii, say. And that somewhere else there was a cafeteria covered with, where all the tables were covered with half-empty coffee cups, and somewhere else there was someone who was halfway through painting their baby, something.
Yeah.
So it's just not they're painting their baby, but painting a
horrible.
crib or something.
Yeah.
And just the idea that the world had stopped and you had this town frozen in time.
Wow. How different is the process of writing a graphic novel as compared to a regular novel? Is it more challenging, or?
Well, I mean, it's challenging for me,
right.
because that's my, it wasn't my thing. I started this book in 2006, and I worked on it for about a year, and I sent it to some comics friends, and they told me what was wrong with it, and I was like, okay, I don't know how to do this. So then, as a way of tricking someone into teaching me how to write comics, I sold the graphic novel rights to Uglies to Del Rey Manga, and they had Devin Grayson write it. So I got to work very closely with Devin, and did an outline, and she did the script, and I got to follow it from script to pencils to inks. So I basically tricked someone into paying me to learn how to write comics. Then I went back to this, and then I had a much better grasp of it. I mean, the main difference to me is that in prose, you can put as much as you want into any scene, and anything can be as long as it needs to be.
Right.
But in graphic novels, you have this sort of two-page structure, and you have to, if you want to set something up, it has to be it's going to be a big reveal. It has to be at the bottom of the right-hand page, so that when you turn the pages over, then you get the surprise, and then you get the hit. So like that's an interesting difference. Another difference is like you just use less words. Like
Challenging for a novelist.
Yeah. I mean, quite often I would have a reaction shot where Addison would say a bunch of stuff, but then I would see, Alex Pouvion, my artist, really great expression and a really great visual moment, and I would just change to what she says to like, wow, because the rest of it's being conveyed by the art, and every word I write is covering up some of that art, and I'm like, I hate that.
Right. Well, what was it like seeing the visual representation of your story created by Alex Pouvion and Hilary Sycamore? Sorry if I pronounced those incorrectly.
I think you're correct. Sounding
Okay.
right. They're both so amazing, and it's so great. Very quickly, whatever images I had in my head, like whenever you write anything, you have some kind of picture in your head, but they were completely replaced by what Alex and Hilary have done. So I have no even memory of the way I used to see these characters, because now these are the real characters.
You mentioned uglies. Are there any more of your previous novels that you plan to have graphic novels for now?
Not that are in the works. I mean,
Okay.
I think it'd be fun to see a Leviathan graphic novel,
Yeah.
but there's no plans for that.
Okay. The Spill Zone concept offers limitless possibilities. Were there any Spill Zone creations that you considered but eventually scrapped?
You mean other ways of telling the story,
Or parts of the story? Or...
Yeah, I don't think there was anything left on the cutting room floor.
Okay.
All I can remember is all the different versions of things where, a creature, we would do a creature design, and there's, and Alex would go through many iterations of something, but I think we always wound up with the best version, so it's not like we had anything left over.
Readers are pretty creeped out by Vespertine.
Yes.
Did you have a lot of fun making her as eerie as possible?
Yeah, I really like, so there's a friend of mine who teaches in middle school, and he teaches sort of 6th to 8th grade girls, is where his school is the entirety of his school population. And he says one of the things that we do as a school is get parents through that transition, because like 6th grade girls are like, as he generalizes, are sort of lollipops and rainbows and unicorns, and 8th grade girls are like truck drivers. They swear and they become much more earthy, and he says like the part of the trauma is of that transition is laid on the parents. And I think in a way, Lexa, my main character's little sister, has been frozen by the trauma, and she is still like the 6th grade girl. But Vespertine is her sort of 8th grade alter ego. So Vespertine is sort of, earthy and swears and is kind of like mean and is so in a funny way, like those two represent both halves of that transition, and so there's something kind of fun about having that, expanding that character in that way, and Vespertine being sort of an aspect of Lexa is kind of interesting to me.
Okay.
And dolls are creepy.
Yes. So what made you want to write Spill Zone as a graphic novel rather than...
One of the things was that the relationship between Lexa and Vespertine, because they have, Lexa, the little sister, doesn't talk, and she hasn't talked since the spill.
Right.
But she does have this psychic bond with her doll, so they're in communication with each other, and having them have that conversation without Addison knowing would be really hard in a regular prose novel, because it wouldn't look like, you'd have to break POV to go and talk to say, and unbeknownst to Addison, there wasn't a conversation happening behind this. And what's cool about graphic novels is you can have these layers of information.
Right.
I mean, the other thing, of course, is that Addison is a photographer, so showing her work and showing her process visually was really important to me. And what I love about what Alex has done is he's shown a lot of the frames and panels in this comic look like snapshots. So like that idea of her taking photographs the whole time is almost like perpetuated through the entire story.
Just some general writing questions
Okay.
to finish off. When writing, are you a plotter or a pantser?
I pants for the first half and then I outline. So
Okay.
basically, I write until I've thrown enough pasta at the wall and I feel like I'm halfway there and I need to start taking control. And then I outline backwards, outline what I've already done, and that shows me what's going on. And then I outline forward and then write to that outline. So
Interesting.
yeah, that's a new one.
Yeah. So what's next for you?
I have Zeros 3 is coming out. I'm in the middle of the Zeros. That comes out in March of 2018. And then I have a secret project, which
Ooh.
fall of 2018, which will be announced sometime before the end of this year.
Okay, that's exciting. Do you have any book recommendations for your readers other than your own books? Which they should definitely be reading as well.
What should you be reading? Faith Aaron Hicks's Nameless City series is really awesome. I'm really enjoying Hope Larson's Compass South. Those are both graphic novels. Donielle Clayton's The Bells is really great. It's about the beauty myth, which is of interest to me, and it's a really cool high fantasy set in a sort of Louis XIV, but also sort of like New Orleans kind of thing. So it's really cool.
All right. Thanks for talking with me.
Thank you. Thanks.